a federal investigator who asked to be disguised.
There are other people that died as a result of this. There are witnesses. There are other members of process, other members of the satanic organization in Yonkers who died. Other suspects in the Son of Sam case were murdered. The reason goes all the way to the top of the department. You do not want to embarrass this department. I believe from what we saw, there was a lot of botches in the case. Ballistics, they messed up searches and seizures at the time of Berkowitz's arrest and prior to his arrest.
Those familiar with the cult believe it is still active, just masquerading under a different cloak.
They have disguised themselves again, and they always change the names.
Or it would take somebody with power, guts, and influence to shut these guys down and make them go to some other country.
Berkowitz agrees.
They're definitely dangerous. I think that today, I mean, I've been locked up behind prison walls for 20 years, but I feel, it's my hunch that they've become more sophisticated, more covert. It's my hunch that they have really gone down deep. I was still doing rituals and incantations in my cell. I did not find peace back then. I had no hope. I was still, like you might say, programmed to just stay in one mode.
This former felon spent 16 years in prison with Berkowitz and has collected many of his poems, never released publicly. There are more than 70 altogether. All are signed by David Berkowitz except one, entitled They Met at Night. But he maintains the process was much more than a cult. It was a sophisticated criminal enterprise.
There was, a lot of other crimes, of homicides and things, and there was a heavy drug trafficking and other things involving children. That was not anything I was into. I mean, I knew people in that area. They were into child pornography, and they were into. There was other people that were into that thing, where they wanted that, and they would provide that.
This former NYPD officer worked undercover for years, often posing as a pornographer.
Some of those same people I dealt with, I arrested for promoting prostitution by selling me children for $20 for sex, were later identified as being members in 1976 or affiliates or associates of the process.
One of the names mentioned by both law enforcement authorities and Berkowitz is that of Roy Radin, a flamboyant show business producer murdered in Los Angeles in 1983. In the 70s, he'd owned a notorious estate on Long Island.
It's unbelievable the things that transpired in there, and I have them from first-hand conversations. I don't make it up. Parading around little girls, little boys, no clothes on, for sex. All of it's filmed.
Hardly a stretch to Berkowitz's claim that snuff films were made of the final Son of Sam victim, Stacy Moskowitz. Berkowitz confirms one of those in a van filming was an associate of Roy Radin.
Yeah, some big people wanted to get in on that, and there's some other people taking care of that as far as making arrangements.
They will see the film later on for a set fee.
Johnson says he learned young boys might be buried in Untermeyer Park back in the early 70s, several years before the Son of Sam shootings had begun. The same park where Berkowitz claims the cult held their rituals. Berkowitz actually tried to warn authorities about the cult. He left a letter, withheld by police, in his apartment at the time of his arrest. It says a long-existing satanic cult had set a goal of murdering 100 people.
Maybe there's a part of me that wanted to stop everything, but I mean, I was just trained to be a soldier and just keep my mouth shut and go with the program and stand alone if need be,
But police sources say no one cared. The NYPD investigation was closed. This federal investigator has an explanation.
You were done. And if David Berkowitz is in custody, why would you go back and shoot somebody with a .44 caliber firearm? There is no reason to do that. They wanted them to believe that it was over.
They have a way of just, It's just unbelievable. They have a way of just masking over everything. They go right into hiding. They're trained like that. That's part of the plan, to just cover the tracks real quick and move on. And once they find out that law enforcement people are maybe zeroing in on anything that they're doing, whatever it is, they have a way of just vanishing.
From the investigation, I would say probably about 12 or 13 people could be indicted that are still alive today.
Indicted for the Son of Sam murders. But sources say many more people may be involved with the cult by offering clandestine financial support. And Berkowitz believes those same people are prepared to seek out new, young recruits in any community.
You know, like they're losing their fear of the devil. And this is a grooming process. A lot of kids today have no concept whatsoever of the dangers that are involved in any form of the occult, how quickly a bondage could form, how quickly a person's mind and spirit could be taken over by some kind of entity.
Ironically, Berkowitz isn't the one pushing for a new investigation into occult conspiracy. That's coming from members of law enforcement who've looked hard at the evidence and who believe that election year politics dictated the truth.
The mayor, pressuring the police department for a conclusion to this.
At the height of the Son of Sam killing spree, the incumbent mayor, Abe Beam, was double digits behind in the polls. He still lost the election 3 months later, but just barely. And scores of police officers won promotions based on solving the most infamous case in New York City crime. Even if a new investigation is launched, and it's determined that Berkowitz did not act alone, it won't change his fate. He's now serving 6 consecutive 25 years to life terms.